Hello and welcome into the show, everyone. I am Preston Poole. That is Tyler Adams. This is Unadvised here on the Sports Animal YouTube, Facebook, and right here on our X account at Unadvised Pod. T-Bag, how you doing today, man?
Weekend. The weekend has caught up to me today, that's for sure.
Yes.
We had fun. We had fun.
Yeah, there you go. That's all that matters, right? As long as you have fun. All right.
Sorry, my connection is
no, you're good. Stuff is sounding weird.
We're off to a horrible start right now, Preston.
Yes.
we're this is just
but you know what? It was a weekend full of football this weekend, T-Bag, and the college football playoff. I don't know if it disappointed, but it definitely didn't live up to all the hype that I was thinking. There was a lot of blowouts this weekend in college football. Let's just get started with game one Friday night. It was Indiana at Notre Dame taking on the Fighting Irish. Notre Dame wins that one 27-17, and obviously 10-point game, but it didn't feel like that the majority of the game.
No, that one was a second half, right? In the middle of the third quarter. All right, full attention to the Thunder game, because that one was just never in question for Notre Dame. That was a complete ass whooping. Is all it was. Just different level of athletes, just everything. And Kirk Cinetti's coach scared a lot of times too. That's the thing that made me mad. It was like,
speaking of Cignetti, you cannot go on to College Game Day before the game and say, all we do is beat the shit out of top 25 teams and then lay a stinker like you just did. Also, let's not forget a month ago, they got their asses kicked by Ohio State in Columbus. So you can't go on and say that.
Beat a top 25. Did they even beat a top 25 team all year?
I don't think so.
It's like, how can you say that when, they might have maybe beaten like one, maybe like if like, Minnesota finished 25 or something.
Yeah.
But that was the best part. I don't know if you saw when Shane Gillis was doing the guest picks.
Yes.
He was talking about Kirk Cinetti going up on stage and doing that. And he looks like Nick Saban's like, would you ever do that? And because she was like, no, he goes, exactly my point. Like, you don't do that before a playoff game.
Also, him calling Nick Saban Alabama Jones was pretty good as well. That was one of the funnier game day guest pickers that we've had all season. But so Notre Dame moves on now to I forget who they play. Let me pull it up real quick. If my stuff will even load. They'll play Georgia. They'll take on Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. That one on the 1st of January. That'll be the nightcap for us in the next round of the playoffs. So Penn State takes on SMU at home. Penn State wins that one. Again, that was a game where what was the final score?
38-10, I think.
Yeah, and it just SMU never had a chance. It felt like
they played good, like relatively good in that first half, with just one major issue. Their quarterback was playing awful, like the worst football you could possibly play. Through 2 pick sixes, he fumbled, missed a wide open guy on a 4th down early on in the game. So SMU, like 38-10, Penn State was the better team. They win that game probably 10 times out of 10. At worst, 9 times out of 10. But I don't think that was a complete mismatch that a lot of people are making it out to be. Because if you go back and watch that first half, SMU had a lot of chances to try to be competitive in that game. Penn State was probably always going to pull away in that second half. But that first half, SMU gave him a shot. It's just that quarterback, Jennings, was wolf. He was really bad.
Yeah,
the biggest moment, not good. He did not show up.
Derek on Facebook says I should have started Daniels over Kyler today. Sorry, Derek. That was actually, believe it or not, the first time I've been wrong this week. So sorry about that. It's the only time I've been wrong this week. So my apologies. Jason also on Facebook said, yeah, all those games were awful. They were all awful. How about the plane full of SMU donors that got diverted to a different airport, and then they arrived an hour late to the game? I think if I was on that bus, I would have told them to turn the damn thing around. Let's get back on the plane and go home.
Yeah, send me home. I don't want to be here. This isn't fun.
Like what the time they would have got there, I think it was like 21 zip or 28-0, something like that. Yeah, I would have been like, yeah, turn this damn thing around. Let's get back on the airplane. Let's go back to Dallas.
Yeah. Get on the private jet.
Yes.
Go buy some more players in the portal.
Exactly. Yeah. So Penn State moves on to take on Boise State. Boise State right now is a 10.5-point dog. I kind of like Boise State in that one. I don't know why. That kind of feels like a Boise State game.
Yeah, we'll talk about the next game and who they're playing too. I really like the plus of points in that one.
The next game, Texas beats Clemson at home there in Austin. That's final score 38-24. It kind of felt like Clemson was going to try and make a run there in the second half. Just didn't have enough in the tank to beat the Longhorns.
We got edged. We got edged in that fourth quarter.
Yes.
Every time it was like we're right there, but we're about to get a ball game, and nope, didn't happen.
It's never happened. Yeah, they put up 14 points in the second half. Texas only put up 10 points. So, but Texas did put 21 on in the second quarter. So, and I forget the exact stat from this game, but it was like there's been more interceptions than like punts or something in this game, something like that. Which is just crazy. The thing about it, it's like Clemson's like, for the most part doing like a decent job. Obviously the floodgates kind of opened up in the second quarter, but at one point there was like one punt and like 3 interceptions or something like that.
Yeah, it was the most competitive of the 4 games, but even then it felt like it was going to be a miracle for Clemson to come back and win that game, even though they got close at times, but Texas never let it happen. So credit to Texas for that. Their next opponent, Arizona State.
Yeah.
14
no one's
points.
No one's given Arizona State a chance in this
No one. And I'm telling you, I think Arizona State is on big time. Or I guess it'd be upset spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Because I think they're a good team. I don't think they can win more than a playoff game. I don't think they can make it to the semis or to the finals. I guess if they win, this will be the semis. They're not going to win the national championship, but I think they can beat Texas. I definitely think they're able to beat Texas.
I agree with you there. Scadaboo is just a fantastic player for them. I think he can run all day on anybody. Doesn't matter the team. And then Ohio State, Tennessee. Ohio Stadium was full of orange last night before the game. The vibes were high for Tennessee fans, and then the team comes out and lays an egg. Ohio State routs them 42-17. It was 21-10 at halftime. You're kind of like, all right, I think Tennessee got the ball out of the half, thinking, okay, maybe Tennessee can come down here, score a touchdown to open up the second half. This is, 4-point game, and we might have a ball game here. But nope, Tennessee does not score in the third quarter, and Ohio State put up 2 touchdowns in that third quarter.
Yeah, Ohio State is the best team in the country, in my opinion. We all counted them. I don't want to say counted them out because I think everyone still knew. It's like, yeah, Ohio State can obviously win the national championship. They have the roster to do so.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of us, and I was talking to Curtis about this the other day because he took Tennessee as a lock, and I was like, I like Tennessee, and I did bet on Tennessee. But I was like, I'm going to avoid that from the lock because players and fans are going to feel 2 different ways. The players are in that locker room saying, let's go win a national championship. Fans are demoralized because they lost to Michigan again. Don't get me wrong. The players have a bad taste in their mouth and always will for losing that game to Michigan. But they also know that they still have everything in front of them to go out and win a national championship and make things as right as possible. And I was like, let's just not forget that Ohio State can just go out there and win a national championship. And we also see what Ohio State can do when they decide to like air the ball out, stuff like just try to run it up the middle of the whole game.
Some quick breaking news in the NBA involving the Oklahoma City Thunder. Per Shams Charania, Oklahoma City Thunder 2-time NBA all NBA defensive team guard Alex Caruso has agreed to a 4-year, $81 million contract extension with the franchise.
There we go.
So
there we go. I got scared there for a second when you said Alex Caruso. I was like, what happened in the Heat game that we all missed?
Yeah.
What
so
happened?
Alex Caruso in Oklahoma City for at least a couple more years. We'll get in more into that because that's not like major, like super breaking news. We all kind of figured he would end up signing that contract extension. So we'll get into that a little bit later on when we talk about the Thunder from this past week. A lot of stuff going on with them this last week. All right, anything else in college football? Out of these other games, I did want to bring this up. So there's only one game where the team that won last week is not favored, and that's Georgia is a 1.5 point favorite over Notre Dame. The other games, Ohio State's a favorite, Texas is a favorite, and Penn State is a favorite. Are we just forgetting that Oregon is still a good football team? And Ohio State has laid eggs a couple times this season.
Vegas. They think Ohio State's good. And I'm starting to – what we saw last night, they play like that every game. They're going to win the national championship, in my opinion.
Well, and that's the thing. Yeah, I
don't know if they're going to.
Exactly.
That's the thing. I don't know if they're going to.
Exactly. I agree. They play like that every game. They
won the game, but they laid an egg against Nebraska, laid an egg against Michigan, laid an egg late against Oregon. They played good the majority of the game, but then laid the egg late. It's just you don't know if you're going to get that.
Yeah,
I do want to say one more thing, Preston.
Yeah.
I bet Tennessee. I gladly lost money last night watching them get their ass beat.
Yeah.
And it was nothing but because it wasn't because I'm a Big 12 fan that doesn't like the SEC. I don't like the Big 10 either. It's like I don't like either of those two conferences. It had nothing to do with that. It was for the sole fact that everyone's like, oh, see what happens when we put Indiana in, see what happens when we put SMU in, they get blown out. See what happens when you put a 2-loss SEC team in, they get blown out too. So, and we want to put 3-loss SEC teams in there. Like, I get they played Ohio State. I get they probably played the best opponent, but that was the biggest ass whooping of the weekend, in my opinion. That game was never, ever, ever close. We had that halftime. We had a halftime where we thought maybe this could be a game, but that was at best maybe. That was never close. It's almost like maybe, because if you go back and look at NFL playoffs, I put on Twitter last night. Joel Klatt put it on Twitter today. If you just look at first round of playoffs in football, the first round is usually never that competitive because there's always gaps in football. Yeah. There's always gaps in football between teams. There's not 12 teams that can win a national championship. There are 3 or 4 teams that can win a national championship, and then there's everyone else. There's no right answers for the committee, and all we did online yesterday was just bitch, bitch, bitch. And then Tennessee goes out there and everyone's like, see, 2-loss SEC team, here we go. Like, this is good. No, they got killed too. Everyone that played on the road yesterday just got killed. So I gladly watched that happen, and it was nothing personal against Tennessee. I like Tennessee. They're probably my favorite SEC team. It was nothing personal to them. It was just for the sole fact of just like, hey, can we shut up at SMU and Penn State now, please? Yeah. I'm okay with restructuring the bracket. I'm okay with not getting Boise State a bye week because they're one of the 5 best conference championships. I'm okay with that. I'll hear you out on that. I'd probably agree with you on that. But come on now. Like, we're sitting here clamoring for 3-loss SEC teams still when this is what a 2-loss SEC team did last night that beat Alabama. Come on. Like, let's not get it twisted here. It's also a dangerous precedent to set to say just because you play in this conference, we should start a bias against it. No, it's a dangerous precedent to set. And if you're a true fan of college football, if you're a true fan of wanting the best for college football, you want teams like SMU and Indiana to get their fair shake because of what they did in the regular season, no matter who they played. No matter who 100%. They played.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, and I agree with Boise State probably shouldn't have been the 3 seed. I don't think Arizona State should have been the 4 seed. I think all those teams should have been in the playoffs. We could have just ordered it a little differently.
And I'm with you. Like, I don't think those teams probably should have gotten a bye week. Arizona State can make an argument for just because the way they finished the season so strong and they're winning the conference. But I also wouldn't raise hell if we did away with, hey, just because you win your conference doesn't mean you get a bye week. Because I think this weekend, if we would have had Arizona State versus SMU, maybe we would have got some better games. But then again, we would have gotten the blowouts later on compared to now. I think there would be more competitive games. Now, obviously, Penn State could take care of Boise and Texas could take care of Arizona State. But I think we're going to get more competitive games this weekend. I do think Arizona State's going to keep it close to Texas. Or I guess it's not this weekend. It's 10 days from now. It's New Year's. But yeah, I was glad to watch Tennessee just laid that egg last night because
Yes.
that really saw, the fine bobs of the world had to eat some crow after that one.
Yes, 100%. So it'll be Tuesday, December 31st, New Year's Eve. Penn State and Boise State play in Arizona at the Fiesta Bowl there in Glendale. The first at noon. It'll be Texas and Arizona State in the Peach Bowl in Atlanta. 4 p.m. on New Year's Day. It'll be Ohio State, Oregon in the Rose Bowl at 4 p.m. there in Pasadena, and then Notre Dame, Georgia, taking place at the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans, 7:45. All those games on ESPN. How did you like the ESPN TNT crossover for the playoffs? Because it was ESPN Cruise, but being broadcast on TNT.
And I couldn't really tell, because it was pretty much ESPN everything other than just a channel. It said college football and TNT or whatever. It was the same score bug that they used Friday and Saturday night when the games were on ESPN. So it really wasn't much different. But I feel like they did a bad job, and this just might be me being weirdo. But I feel like they did kind of a bad job of with the crowd noise and the environments of the game and stuff. I feel like the crowd noise was just non-existent in all the games. But I'm kind of a weirdo on that. I'd rather have more crowd noise than more announcer noise. I like announcers. I don't want to watch a game without announcers, but I want to hear the pop when there's a 40-yard touchdown run or something. I want to hear the crowd pop, and I feel like we didn't get a lot of that. But I think that's also a TNT thing a lot of the times too, because I remember in the playoffs when the Thunder are playing, you're I know that arena is way louder than what they're displaying on
100%
TV right now.
Yeah. No, I can always. Being in the studio, you can getting the raw feed in the arena. It's definitely is way louder than what they portray it on television. All right, let's go ahead and get into the NFL from today. Let's see. Let's start in the NFL with the Giants and the Falcons. This one, Michael Penix, his first start of his career, but the Falcons beat the hell out of the Giants 34-7. The owners for the Giants, was it the Mora family, I believe, were throwing their hands in the air and had no clue what was going on. Their team is terrible. That was a nice little clip that I saw. But how about Michael Penix getting his first start and beating a bad football team?
Yeah, he didn't play terrible. He didn't play amazing, but he didn't play terrible. Threw an interception, no touchdown. Yeah, that was just an ass whooping. It was one you didn't really pay a lot of attention to, unless you had some deep cash on it or something.
Yeah,
if you're a Falcons or Giants fan. But yeah, Bijan, got released today. So that's my Falcons Giants recap.
Yes,
Giants, Falcons in the mix.
That's exactly how the game went as well. All right, here's one that's more near and dear to your heart. The Lions and the Bears. The Lions 34, the Bears 17. The Lions are good, and the Bears, I think, just need a good head coach, and they might be able to figure it out, and an offensive line.
They didn't play the score will tell you it was an ass whooping, and it was
it felt a little bit closer in the second half, though.
And Caleb made a couple throws this is why you just don't break him, and you can still believe and have a little bit of promise for the future. But the Bears are still going to find a way to screw it up somehow, some way. They always do. But I mean, it is what it is at this point. I really just want to beat the Packers. That's all I kind of care about at this point. Even
is that next week or is that the week after?
It's week 18.
Okay, so last
week. Week after they play the Seahawks on Thursday this week.
Look, you might get a chance. Maybe Jordan Love sits that game out because they already locked up.
They don't want to be that fun. It's like beating a team in a bowl game that has no players.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I do think that they just need to go and it's easy to say for us sitting here because you obviously know a whole lot better than I do how that organization runs. To just say they need to go get a good head coach, that's probably easier said than done for the Bears. But I really do feel like that's all they are away, just someone that actually knows what the hell they're doing.
Yeah, they'll end up with Mike McCarthy or something.
Hey, he won a Super Bowl in that division.
Yeah. 15 years ago.
Yeah. Nah, Jerry Jones ain't gonna let him go. He'll be in Dallas.
Cowboys are they alive or are they eliminated now?
They just got eliminated today.
Because they had to have the Eagles win, I think.
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. How about the Browns and the Bengals? This one was a stinker for most of the game until the Bengals scored that touchdown late. It was
big for fantasy for some people, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think Jamar Chase now is over 1,500 yards this season. Like he's got 1,000,000 touchdowns. Seems like Joe Burrow, the only person he throws touchdown passes to is Jamar Chase. So he's got a whole bunch of those this season. But yeah, the Bengals keep their, I guess, shot at the playoffs alive at 7-8 with a 24-6 win over the Browns. And I ask you, T-Bag, why the hell did the Browns bench Jameis Winston for Dorian Thompson? Is it? Yeah, DTR. I'll just say that because it's way easier to say. Why did he get benched for him? That's insane. Jameis was just so much fun to watch no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, because he had a couple bad games. Well, you know what? Jameis has a couple of bad games.
It's bad.
He'll give you an all-pro game after that. So, yeah, I don't know. It makes the Browns unwatchable again.
Yeah, they are not good at all. This game was really interesting. The Titans and the Colts. So the Colts
Mason Rudolph.
The Colts were up 38 to like 16, 15, something like that. And then the Titans storm back, score 15 points in the fourth quarter. They end up losing by 8 to the Colts. The Colts needed that win to stay in the playoff hunt. And the Titans probably needed the loss to stay in the hunt for the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
So I think both teams got the result they wanted, but it was close down to the wire in that one.
Yeah, Mason Rudolph, tradition unlike any other, him getting a start and playing good the week before Christmas.
Yeah. And then that was crazy because Jonathan Taylor had like almost 200 yards at the start of the third, because I think coming out of halftime he broke off like a 70-yard touchdown run. Yeah, and then just didn't do anything the rest of the game. But he did have 3 touchdowns in that one. So big, probably his most productive day of the whole entire season for Jonathan Taylor. I would know. He's on one of my teams. The Rams and the Jets. The Rams beat the Jets 19-9. The Rams are going to be in the playoffs now. They secure their spot in the playoffs. I believe they wrapped up the division with that one. I think so.
Yeah, because
if not, they're for sure locked into the playoffs now. Yeah, the Cardinals lost, so the Rams locked in their spot because the Cardinals lost. I don't know if they wrapped up the division or not, but they did.
No, because the Seahawks are still 8-6, so they're still battling it out.
Yeah. So, okay.
I'm looking at it right now.
And the Seahawks playing right now in at home against the Vikings. They have the ball into the third quarter. They're down by 3, 20-17. So that's an interesting game we'll talk about here in just a sec. But the Rams, Matt Stafford, his age is showing, and the only person he throws the football to now is Puka Nacua.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp's on my fantasy team. We're battling for a championship right now in the semis. Didn't do me many favors. I am Preston. Unless collapse happens, I'm gonna be in the championship. I think against Matt Ravis.
Oh, really?
In our sports animal league, yeah. So,
well, look, I'll be rooting for you in that one. It's always
I have an 84% chance to win over Bobby, and Matt has a 99% chance to win over Q-Tip. So,
there you go.
That'd be a nice little payday. And I'm also in the semis with a. Let's see. Let's get the score real quick. I'm not projected to lose. Dang it. James Cook's going off for the Bills. That's not helping me any.
I'll tell you what
I'm still alive. I'm still alive in this. But if I win both these leagues, it's going to be like $1,000 payday for me.
What happened to me was I started Jalen. It's a 2-quarterback league, a dynasty league. I started Jalen Hurts, obviously out with a concussion.
Yeah.
My other quarterback was Matt Stafford. And one of my receivers was Cooper Kupp. So needless to say, I will not be making the championship game.
You're not advancing.
Unless CeeDee Lamb scores about 70 points tonight. Then we might have a shot. All right. Let's talk about that Eagles game. Jalen Hurts gets hurt, first quarter, second quarter,
very
somewhere
early
in there.
Very early on.
Yeah, very early in the game. I had like 4 points in fantasy, I think. Eagles, Commanders. Commanders win 36-33. Commanders scored 22 points in the fourth quarter to come back. Jaden Daniels, is phenomenal. I know Derek is probably mad at me for telling him to not start him in fantasy football. I will now be telling everyone to start Jaden Daniels in fantasy football. So I thought this was a tough defensive matchup for him, right? Nope, he goes out, throws 5 touchdown passes, a game winner against the 12-2 at that point Eagles, who are now 12-3, and his team's going to be in the playoffs, and he's going to win Rookie of the Year. He's been fantastic.
Yeah, he's been great. Saquon Barkley, kind of like the Jonathan Taylor route. He started off the game with, I think, 130 yards in the first quarter or something, and then only finished with 150. So he got contained. But Kenny Pickett came in and did all right. He was hurt for a lot of the game, so we thought we were going to get the emergency quarterback there for a second.
He kept holding his ribs or something like that.
Yeah, doing that thing. When quarterbacks are like, he's doing that. But I mean, he played serviceable. He played enough for them to win. Obviously, just the Eagles defense couldn't hold up in that final drive.
Yeah, it was a crazy ending to that game. And Jaden Daniels has had that happen twice now. So
yeah, he had 330 total yards, Jaden Daniels.
Yes, he was crazy good today.
I didn't start him in fantasy either because he's my backup, but I have Lamar Jackson.
Oh yeah.
So it's really hard to be mad at myself right now.
Exactly. Yeah. And plus, you probably only missed out on a couple of points in that anyway. So.
Let's see.
I think Lamar played
20 points.
Good. He missed out on 20 points.
He had 20 in my league. He had 26.48 points, and then Jaden Daniels had 46.42.
Yep. So that's some big
significant.
Points, so.
Yeah, and I project to lose by 7 right now. So yeah,
could have used that. How about the Cardinals and the Panthers? How about the Panthers, man? The Panthers beat the Cardinals 36-30 to crush the Cardinals' chances of making the playoffs. They will now miss the playoffs. And the Panthers, I mean, ever since they benched Bryce Young, he's come back and he's played some great football. This one went into overtime. Chuba actually scored the walk-off touchdown there for the Panthers. And
it's been a great season.
Yeah, and he got that big contract as well, midway through the season. So he's going to be their starting tailback for a while there in Carolina. And it kind of starting to look like Bryce Young might have a chance to be the starting quarterback there in Carolina as well.
Yeah, they're going to be the team next year where everyone's going to be like, hey, Carolina's going to be the team to, watch out for this year because they finished the season high. And I will be one of those guys.
Yes.
As long as they have a decent offseason. But
I mean, yeah, they're going to have a good draft pick. Do they owe their first round to the Bears this year?
Nope, they owe their second rounder.
Second rounder. So they're going to have a decent first round pick, with 4 being 4-11 right now. I can't imagine they'll win.
They don't need a quarterback.
2 more
games. A running back. So
exactly. So they can get an offensive lineman or a weapon out on the outside for Bryce Young. So all right, some other games going on right now in the NFL. We talked about this just a little bit ago. The fourth quarter starting now in Seattle as the Vikings lead the Seahawks 20-17. This is a game where, for me, this is 2 playoff teams. This could be a playoff game right there in Seattle because I think these 2 teams deserve to be in the playoffs. Seattle's been banged up, but they've still been able to get some wins going. They finally have Kenneth Walker back, I believe, today. DK scored his first touchdown since week 7 today for them. So I think if they're fully healthy, I think the Seahawks are a playoff team.
Yeah, I do too. They're a pretty good team. Their defense is elite. Geno Smith, hot and cold, but been playing good lately. So we'll see with them.
Yeah,
I really like the Vikings this year too.
Yeah, Darnold right now, 19 of 30, 193 yards, 2 touchdowns. Geno Smith, 22 of 31, 226 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. So both quarterbacks playing pretty good today in Seattle. How about this one? This one a little surprising. About 2.5 minutes left in the third quarter in Buffalo. And the Patriots are within 3 of the Buffalo Bills. Patriots 14, Bills 17. Again, the Bills lost a couple weeks ago to the Rams out in LA on a weird one. If they lose this one, I mean, obviously they're still a very good football team, but if you lose this game, that's going to take a little bit of my confidence away from them heading into the playoffs.
Yeah,
because the Patriots aren't good.
This isn't what I saw coming. I would have bet the Bills -14 today. I thought this was going to be a whomping. Obviously, the game's far from over, but it's competitive right now. It does not look like the Bills are going to cover that 14 points. So, I haven't had eyes on this one. I could have been focusing on the Seahawks, Vikings in the afternoon. Jaguars, Raiders. That's our recap right there for that game because gross. I refuse to watch that one.
As we're talking about it, Drake May throws an interception in the end zone.
There we go.
So, but he's outplayed Josh Allen today. He's 16-24, 194 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Josh Allen, 12-22 for 106 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. So he's almost has almost 100 yards more than Josh Allen today. So other games going on right now, the Jags and Raiders. This is another battle for a top pick in the draft. The 3-11 Jaguars trail the 2-12 Raiders 13-7 right now, about midway through the third. And then the 49ers and Dolphins. I believe the 49ers were favored in this one. I kind of sniffed out the Dolphins a little bit. The Dolphins lead right now. Just under 6 minutes to go in the third quarter, 16-10. Tyreek had a couple of drops early. He dropped a touchdown pass, but he's since scored a touchdown. And the Dolphins, while probably not going to make the playoffs, I think there's some hope if you can get everyone healthy for like a full entire year, right, on both sides of the ball. Because they had some injuries on defense before the season. Obviously had some injuries, with Tua and some other guys on offense during the season. I think they could probably win some football games next year.
Yeah, I have a not a statement I want to make, but my potato's becoming too much for me. Those sunglasses he's wearing today.
He is a bit extra sometimes.
It's just, and you got to start winning more. He's got to start winning more for it was fun and cute the first year, real cool last year. This year it's like come on.
I still think he's good at like calling plays and stuff like that.
Yeah. I don't not believe in him. I just think he needs to maybe take a step back.
Yes, quit being.
He's a little bit more mean.
Yeah, quit being such a cool guy that everyone likes much, because now it's like, all right, do we have to be that cool, to go on there? It's kind of, for me, it's like Joe Burrow, right? Love Joe Burrow. I think he's a great quarterback. But when he's doing the Cartier shades and, all this other stuff, I'm like, all right, Joe, let's dial it back a little bit. We don't want to get it too far ahead of ourselves on this one.
It's football. It's not a fashion contest, right?
Yes. Leave the fashion to the NBA. All right. Let them do their fashion shows.
The NBA lover boys, let them go at it.
Another guy I'm out on, Mac Hollins. Put some damn shoes on, dude. All right. You don't need to be walking through the snow in Buffalo barefoot because you want to be more connected to the earth. But I'll quit on that. That pissed me off the other day when I saw that. I was like, really, dude? All right, the night game tonight should be, I don't want to say good, interesting is what I'll say. The Buccaneers at the Cowboys. The Bucs a 4-point favorite in this one. The Bucs coming off just an absolute ass kicking of the Chargers last week. They're rolling right now. Mike Evans is hot. Mike Evans, I think, needs like 200 and something yards to get 1,000 on the season to continue his streak. And the Cowboys are, I don't want to say flailing, because I think they lost or they won last week, I believe, didn't they?
Yeah, I think they won 2 in a row.
They beat Carolina last week. They lost to the Bengals the week before.
Okay.
But they did beat Washington and the Giants in back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, they've won last 4.
Yeah, won 3 out of 4, but they have Tampa Bay tonight, the Eagles next week, and the Commanders the week after that. So this seems to me like probably the last game that they might win this season. I don't know. But obviously they're not making the playoffs. They just got bounced out of that, question earlier today. But we'll see. I think the Bucs probably win this one, though.
I think this is going to be a Baker Mayfield game. I think he's going to just come out and just play. I mean, I got the Bucs -4 as my lock of the week, so that's what I'm banking on. That's what
I like that. No, I like that.
I think Baker Mayfield, he's been playing so good this year. Come back to the state of Texas, his home state, in a pretty much a must-win game. I mean, you can't afford to lose to the Cowboys when you're a favorite in a playoff battle and a division battle. So I think Baker's going to absolutely ball today.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, they're only 8-6, so they need as many wins as they can get right now heading into the playoffs. And then Monday night, the Saints at the Packers. Packers 14-point favorites. Give me the Packers. The Saints.
Watching Thunder.
Yeah, the Saints are going to be playing in cold weather up there. That they're just not going to win. I'll tell you that. Yeah. So yeah, that'll do it for the NFL. And speaking of the Thunder, as you mentioned that, how about the Thunder? Obviously, news out like the last 20, 30 minutes. Alex Caruso signs an extension to stay with the Thunder 4 years, $81 million. So he'll be with the Thunder for at least the next this season, and then the 4 after that, unless he gets traded or something like that. Your thoughts on that move that I think a lot of us saw coming?
Yeah, it's not a surprising move. It's a good move. I also think it's a good move in the sense of, I'm going to say it. I'm not saying I want this to happen. I'm not saying this will happen. I'm just going to say it.
All right.
To put it out there. Matching money if in a possible trade in the future. Probably not this year. It's probably not good. It can't be this year because they just signed it. So I think in the rules, I don't think he's allowed to get traded again.
No, yeah, it would have to be next season.
Because everyone always talks about the Thunder making a trade and stuff. It's like, look, guys, they're probably going to make a move or something. It's not going to be anything major this year because they have to match so much money, being they're not paying anyone yet. They're obviously not going to trade Lou Dort because he is one of those tradable salaries. They're not going to trade a Hartenstein, obviously, because he's one of those tradable salaries. So, Alex Caruso, that's all I'm going to say. not that I want it because I love Caruso, and I think he is a key piece to a guy. He's one of those guys you need on your team to win a championship, where you know he's going to come on the court. Even if he puts up 0 points, he's going to have a significant positive impact with the way he plays defense and the way he'll just make those small hustle plays that a lot of other guys won't. So I do want that. But 3 years from now, when he's 33, never know.
Yeah, never know. No, 100%. And maybe this kind of settles him in a little bit, and the shooting starts to come around. I don't know. Maybe it's just, I don't know what the issue is with the shooting, because he was a great shooter last year and just hasn't shot the ball well.
The whole Thunder, though, just been struggling with shooting this year.
Yeah, exactly. It's the whole team
compared to last year.
Him, which, again, last year was a historical like shooting.
You knew they weren't going to repeat last year, but then again, it's like they're 19th in 3-point average right now. So
exactly, it's like you did it once, and it's like the meme with the guy with the stick poking something. It's like, come on, do something. That's what Thunder fans want from them after seeing the way they shot the ball last year. So just a recap of this last week for the Thunder. On Tuesday, they lost in the the in-season tournament final against the Milwaukee Bucks, and they didn't just lose. Actually, you're right. That game, if you check the records, that
technically
game
never happened. Technically,
you're right.
Never happened.
It did never happen. You can't find any stats or anything on that game at all. But theoretically, if that game was played, the Thunder
they've lost and played terrible.
They got their butts kicked. And the good thing is that, they spent a week, I think it was 6 days, so I'll just say a week in Las Vegas. And surely they didn't have to just get on a plane and fly all the way out to the East Coast and play a back-to-back
no way the
Thursday
NBA would
and
do
Friday. No, the NBA would never do that to any team. Oh, wait, they did. And the Thunder, you know what they did? They went out, they swept the road trip, went 2-0, beat the Magic on Thursday and the Heat on Friday night. And the team is on a roll. They're 22-5 right now. Number one,
7 straight.
Yeah, 7 straight wins
in real games.
Yes. And it's good to mix that loss in there, because maybe that refocuses them, and you don't have to add that loss to the record, right?
Yeah. You can take a positive about that loss.
Exactly. But yeah, they're on a roll right now, like you said, 7 in a row, 22-5, number one team in the Western Conference. And they play the Washington Wizards tomorrow night at home before they get a couple days off for Christmas and back at it on Thursday.
With a couple things with the NBA Cup, I have a spin zone to where I'm glad the Thunder lost because the Bucks raised a banner last night.
It was the worst banner I've ever seen.
Worst banner I've ever seen, number one. Number two, did you listen to the audio and stuff and see the crowd?
I did not know.
Yeah, I don't think anyone even there was no cheering or
I just saw the picture and it was like they opened up a blank Word document and just put 2024 in-season tournament champions on it. And then someone just printed it out on a big ass piece of paper and they hung it up in the rafters.
Yeah. And the crowd was not engaged to whatsoever. They're getting clowned on Twitter, which, I don't necessarily disagree with raising a banner for the NBA Cup. I'm indifferent on it.
So the thing is, I think now the NBA tells them to.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an NBA thing. And that's probably why they didn't put any effort into it. But at least put some effort in. That thing has to hang in your rafters, dude. That's an eyesore now. That's not like anything cool.
So I'm glad that the Thunder weren't the second team to win it, because when they're the third team to win, then they put up a banner. It's like, hey, look, this is just what we do. This is just
what we have to do. Yeah. What we have to do. Yeah. But I'm certain that the Thunder will put in a little bit more effort than just literally opening up a Word document and typing in season champs. So yeah, that was I did see that and I was like, what are we doing here, man? What are we doing? Yeah, the Wizards at home tomorrow. They head back out on the road to take on Thursday. I forget who they play on Thursday. Of course, this is just not loading the way that I want it to. Come on, guys. Let's get this going. It'll be Indiana. They'll play on Thursday, December 26th. That's a 6 p.m. game. And then Saturday, they're in Charlotte to take on the Hornets. That's a 5 p.m. game. And then Sunday, they'll be back at home taking on the Memphis Grizzlies. So that should actually be a fun game next Sunday. Grizzlies, the number 2 seed right now in the Western Conference. They're playing good. But the Thunder should, win the next 3 games and have that matchup next week against the Grizzlies.
Yeah, some fun games coming up ahead. You got a nice homestand too.
Yeah,
which is going to be
nice. Like 5 or 6 games.
A lot this last month.
Yes.
Yeah, that starts the 29th. So, but yeah, I mean, they got Boston coming up, New York, Minnesota on New Year's Eve. So yeah, some very fun games coming up for the Thunder. I cannot wait for that Boston game. Just because I want to see, just where these two teams are at, because
that's actually at home a Sunday matinee game, 2:30 tip. And
I didn't see that. Yeah,
would that be 2 or 3 weeks time from now on January the
2 weeks
5th?
From today.
So
2 weeks from today.
Yeah, some great games coming up in January for the Thunder, and a bunch of those at home. So get out and see those. They go on a East Coast trip after that Celtics game where they play 4 on the road. They're going to play the Knicks twice in January, the Cavaliers twice as well, Dallas twice. So I mean, there's a bunch of good games in January. January is going to be a tough month for the Thunder because there's a lot of good opponents.
Yeah, at Golden State.
Schedule.
Yeah. Dang.
I didn't realize the schedule was like that for January.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
It's gonna be a fun month. It's gonna be a fun month.
It's gonna be fun. Maybe, hopefully, they'll get Jay Will back at some point. I haven't seen anything on his injury, but we're at the point where they should be, re-examining or whatever you want to call it, his injury. So maybe he'll come back here, in the next week or so, something like that, and have him for January. But everything going good for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then before we get out here, I will mention that they did re-sign Alex Caruso to a 4-year, $81 million deal. Anything else before we get out of here and wrap things up, T-Bag?
No, I think we covered it all. Just ready for the holidays and playoff football, college and NFL. I know yesterday sucked for college, but it'll get better. It'll get
100%. All right, I don't know what our schedule will be this next week. We might try and sneak in a recorded episode for Christmas for you guys. We'll see what our schedules are like. If not, we'll be back next Sunday for you guys for sure. All right, that's going to do it for us. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to everyone out there. Hope you guys have a great one. Until next time, we'll see you then. Adios.